Hello Twitch, hello YouTube, this is Captain Nav. Good day to you. Hope you're all doing well today. Today we're gonna do a short flight on the 777. It's probably one of the shortest flights out there. Just gonna have, as I said, a quick flight today from Dubai, Oscar Mike Delta Bravo to Doha, Oscar Tango Hotel. As I said, one of the shortest 777 flights around, so it should be good fun, quite busy flight. Here we are in what looks like kind of dusty Dubai. It's a little bit kind of dusty, hazy today apparently. I think it's kind of reflected in the METAR. Yeah, so at 10 Zulu, so that was about 14 minutes ago. Yeah, 6 kilometers, 20 degrees, 1024. So that's 6 kilometers. So it must be a little bit dusty, a little bit hazy today. No bad. On stand Alpha 1 in the kind of newer terminal. Well, not the newer, because I believe there's a new one for the foreign carriers, but at least the new one for Concourse A, I think it is. So here we are. And I'll jump in the flight deck, bring the jetway if it does come up. Yeah, the jetway is moving. Cool, excellent. Anyway, that's not so important. So like always, coming up, I'll put the Adiru, the emergency light is coming on, and then I'll do a reset. We can't do the reset here actually. And the checklist, I'll reset the checklist, which I think we can do. Can we do it on this? Yeah, reset all. It's not gonna make a big difference because it was on the correct checklist, but just to reinitialize the electronic checklist, which is alright. Cool. Status, there's nothing on the status except TCAS, but TCAS is normal, so we can disregard that. And in the ICAS up here, nothing really abnormal. That's good. We're checking the aircraft technical log. It's all good, it's all working well. Got the trucks in place. We'll set the parking brake now. Parking brake is set, and yeah, let's get cracking. We'll start like always with the FMC. Oops, I'll shift that a little bit. So we're on a 300 ER. The engine rating is correct. It's a GE90 engine, 115 pounds of thrust. Nav data Iraq 1702. That's the current one. Today is the 19th, so that's correct. The active dates there. And drag fuel flow. It's not really been assessed on the aircraft here, so we can leave it as is. Basically, it's a little bit complex to explain, but basically the aircraft is assessed for the fuel consumption in particular, and they work out what they call the the drag coefficient, and then if there is such a thing, then they will be put in the computer for the particular aircraft. So, but in this case, I mean, it's all simulated, so it's not really an issue. Anyway, we are in Oscar Mike Delta Bravo, and the GPS position we're gonna take from this line here and set it in the inertial position. So you can see already by setting the inertial position, the PFD and the ND are all aligned and are giving sensible information, which is good. Cool. So for the route, we'll pick up the saved route. Where is it? Here it is. OMDB OTHH 01 request. So in the aircraft, it's not like this. You don't have like a list of routes in the aircraft. You hit the request button here, and the third key, or I will call L3 for left 3, and then the sequence will be the same. You will get the sent request message here, and then once the uplink is ready, you will get the message route 1 uplink ready. So you can just clear that message and then load the uplink, and then the origin airport, the destination airport will be populated. The company route wouldn't really show here, and then at some point a further uplink would come up with the flight number, because basically when you request, the flight number will actually come before the perfinite uplink. But in the real aircraft, because you request the route and all the FMC information from some sort of server from the company via data link, then they would have the information of the flight number going to the particular aircraft the request is coming from. So they could they would give you the flight number as well, but not here, just the way it's simulated. Okay, so the flight number, we can add it manually ourselves. It's the 845. Then we can check the route on the next page. It's CTAT Papa 699 Kisag Mike 430 Bovip Quebec 215 to Afnan. Perfinite. We're not gonna accept that. And the reserve according to the flight plan is 5.9. Cruise altitude is 200. Cost index is 120. So normally the perfinite uplink would fill up the reserve number there, the cruise altitude, the cost index, and you would have to check that this is correct from the flight plan you have. Here for some reason I'm not really sure where the information is taken from. I think for the reserve it kind of gives you a kind of standard number for some reason. For the cruise altitude, possibly close to the optimum or whatever the computer thinks is reasonable. And then the cost index, I think there's a default cost index, so that's why I didn't accept the uplink and enter it manually. So that's all set. The zero fuel weight will leave it blank for the moment. So that's the perfinite done. Then we go to the departure arrival.
I'm back from the walk around and everything looks good.
Oh, he's already back. You see, I'm taking my time today actually, because normally it's minus 29. Now I should have done more than I've done, but yeah, we're taking our time. There's no rush. Right, so departure will be from 30 right. I think it was CTAT as the first waypoint, so CTAT 3 Foxtrot. So we've got the runway now is appearing there on the first route page. It was missing earlier on, but once you select the departure, then the route shows here. CH call, I'll give you the standard reply for that. Here we are. Close right entry 2. Okay, I'll do that. So the doors, close this one and possibly close the back one as well there. Cool. I'll come back to my main FMC here. Okay, so the first page there is all populated and there's no mistakes or no blanks. And then on the page 2 we've got the departure to the first waypoint, and then there's no discontinuity and the route is still there. So we're good, we can execute that. And we go on the legs page, have a look at the legs page and the ND, see if everything makes sense. So according to the chart, we're supposed to go to that Emuni waypoint, 1000 feet or above, 4000 feet or below. That's all in there. First officer is coughing. And then we go to Demto on a track of 235 for about 7 miles. So we got 235, 7 miles to Demto, 220 knots. It's in there. And then track 246 for about 14 miles to Ginla. That's all in there. And then 283 for 10 miles. That's correct, to Sitat. So basically just to make sure that first of all the sequence of waypoints is correct, and also that the tracks and the distance makes sense as well. And you can look also at the overall picture there on the navigation display and look at the chart, and that the picture kind of more or less looks the same as well. So that's all good here, all makes sense, so we can move on. Go back to the map mode and then go to the route data and load the wind data. So the wind is coming here. We've got 4 levels, which is good, so we can execute that. And then we've got also the descent forecast, so we go to VNav, go to previous page, which is the descent page. We go kind of the back way, forecast, and load the forecast. The transition in Doha I think is 150, so we can set it now. Navrad, we don't necessarily need to enter anything there in the Navrad. We could enter like ILS frequency if we want. For runway 30 left is 111.3 I think. And the track is 299, so we can set that. If we need to do an immediate return, we can punch that in here. Take it there and then punch it in the ILS straight away. Anyway, it's not really that vital. Progress page, where we check there is the distance. So the flight plan is giving us a distance of about
Hi guys, can we start boarding now?
Yes. So here we are boarding. Yeah, the jetway is in place, it's okay. But yeah, the flight plan is giving us 234 nautical miles of ground distance. That's calculating the departure and the arrival. At the moment I don't have the arrival in the FMC here, so that's why the distance is a little bit shorter. Once you enter the arrival, the distance should be fairly similar, but yeah, for the moment it's good, so that's fine. Now we go to the route page, do a route copy onto route 2. and then we come back to route 1, and then we can check that all the uplinks have been loaded, and they are. And then we can put like some sort of circle on the airport. I think that's where the MSA is calculated on, 25 miles. And the MSA, the highest around, according to the chart, is 3,800 feet, so we can set it there. And then in the VNAV climb, we'll set the transition, which is here not like the default 18,000 but 13,000. And then we're all good. Leave it on zero fuel weight, on perfinite here. Here doesn't really matter, we can leave it on the legs page. Okay. So pre-flight we play around with first the FS panel, set the QNH and the PFD there, it's all good. On the display I'll take the airport there, we've got the TCAS off display, so it's good. There's no need to touch anything else. Put the flight director, the speed, he's doing the test light, or the light test. 175, I imagine. 299 is the track. 4000 is set. So that's good. And then we'll test the oxygen. Come back here, there's nothing really to set. This one is 1024, so it's not matching. 1024, the parking brake is set. And then the speed brakes are down, and that's all good. Flaps are excellent. He's testing his oxygen as well. He set the auto brake. Has he set his flight director? Yes, he has. That's good. Cool. Now he's testing the TCAS. We don't really test that in the aircraft. I think it's more like an engineering thing. I don't know why FS2 Crew's done the TCAS test there, but anyway,
I'm ready for the checklist.
Yeah. Before that, we actually need to brief before doing the checklist, matey. So I'll bring FS2 Crew, and we'll play around with the briefing. And it helps also set FS2 Crew. So we're gonna reduce the thrust. Flaps is gonna be 5 because we're gonna be fairly light. Anti-air is no. NADP is gonna be 1. Accelerating at 3000. Thrust reduction at 1500 via the SID. The weather and the terrain, like always, is a terrible concern. The backs off departures, they are very rare. We need to be a very heavy aircraft at close to max takeoff weight or even max takeoff weight. We need to be a relatively short runway, or otherwise needs to be very hot or something like that to start taking the packs off. What we can do as well is the on the takeoff page as well, we can put like what they call APU. So either do a packs off takeoff, or otherwise do a APU to packs, or even use the takeoff bump on the 777. But to use this, as I said, like the conditions need to be quite extreme. So either like very hot with low QNH and the short runway. So basically when performance is critical, but most of the time otherwise we wouldn't really use it, to tell the truth. It's really when, you know, conditions are fairly extreme. Right, so he's done the briefing. So checklist. We're supposed to call the checklist. Let's see. Pre-flight checklist.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Flight instruments.
Heading 120. Altimeter 1024.
Heading 120. Altimeter 1024. Pre-flight checklist complete.
Here's the load sheet for you. Have a nice trip.
Thank you. So the load sheet wouldn't really on these big aircraft. The load sheet wouldn't be given by the dispatcher. The load sheet will be coming off the data link system and would come off the printer, which is down here, and then the phone there. And yeah, all the information would be printed out on a piece of paper, but we wouldn't really get like a physical form or piece of paper from the dispatcher himself. Everything comes via data link there and through the aircraft printer, which is really nice actually. She's really good. So let's say we have load sheet in hand. So we'll come to the perfinite page, and this is quite a fairly important phase of the flight preparation, because we need to basically punch in the correct figures above all for these large aircraft, where like a weight mistake could be quite significant. So we need to make sure we do it properly. But there's a set of SOPs and calls and cross checks along the way, which are fairly robust, so it's not really a major problem. Cool, so the zero fuel weight we said earlier on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board our flight today. As you locate your assigned seats, please place your smaller items on the seat in front of you to provide more room for larger items in our overhead compartments. If you need assistance, contact the flight attendants.
It's giving us takeoff weight of 228.5. Yep, with the taxi fuel, that makes sense. Then we go to the thrust limit, enter and assume, which let's say we're gonna go for 75 because it's very light. 85% on the N1 is good. And then takeoff page, go to the next page. Engine height acceleration is 1000. Acceleration height we said will be 3000, and thrust reduction is 1500. So far so good. Good morning, Delta Yankee 2. And then we come back to takeoff ref page 1. Flaps will be 5. CG. Normally we have a CG on the load sheet, depending on how the payload distribution is in the aircraft. If we've got let's say a lot of passengers at the front or at the back, also the way the cargo is distributed, the load master or the person who who's in charge of the loading will come up with the CG number. Here we just press the number here, and it's basically given by PMDG. PMDG here is giving us the speeds. I'll take these speeds today. I've now calculated the speeds on my performance application. Hey, Pedro Dowd, hello. Good morning. And yeah, and once we've got our V2 there, obviously there's two of us. We will cross-check the numbers, make sure that all the numbers are correct and everything. As I said, there's some sort of SOP going on there, so to make a mistake is possible, but you will need to kind of be quite negligent. So we said V2 of 159, so we need to enter the V2 in the MCP and there, the speed window, 159. We'll fly LNAV, VNAV, we've got the correct runway track at 4,000 feet, so we are all good. Alright, we are almost ready to go now. So we'll start the APU. In the meantime, we can make a PA. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever. Welcome on board this flight, blah 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 blah. Okay, I'll spare you the details. Ground flight deck.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect the ground equipment.
Roger.
Right, so he's disconnected the ground power and removed the chocks. I'll just double check. Yep, that's the case. The jetway is removed. That's good. The doors are closed and armed. We'll go back in the flight deck and then we can ask him. Ground flight deck.
Go ahead.
Can we pressurize hydraulics?
Roger, you're clear to pressurize the hydraulics.
Before start procedure.
Are we clear to pressurize?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, the right electric hydraulic pump comes on. Then normally it's the C1 and then the C2, and not the C2 and the C1 like it's done. But hey, that's the beacon comes on. And then the transponder is on as well. Check we've got data.
I'm ready for the checklist.
That the flight deck door is locked. Everything is good. While this is done, I'll have a look at the trim. The trim was 6.75, looking at the takeoff page there. So we'll set the trim 6.5, 675. Okay, that looks about correct. Now we can do the checklist. Before start, checklist.
Before start checklist. Flight deck door. Closed and locked. MCP.
V2 159, track 299, altitude 4000.
Takeoff speeds.
V1 151, VR 154, V2 159.
CDU pre-flight.
Completed.
Completed. Trim.
6.75 units, 0, 0.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Completed.
Before start checklist complete.
So we are ready to start the engines. We'll call FS to crew. GSX, I meant. Prepare for the push. We're gonna put the nose to the left. So it's number 2. Nope.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start that wheel.
Start sequence is 2 then 1.
Check.
Start the right engine.
Starting right.
Okay, so he puts the start switch up here onto
Oil
start,
pressure.
and then all we have to do is bring the fuel control switch to run to bring in the to start the automatic engine start function, and then at some point around 33% N2 the fuel will come in. See 32, it's starting to think about it. 33, and now the fuel is coming in. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of at the discretion of the captain at the end of the day to decide where you want to go. As long as you can justify it, then it's at the discretion. Yeah. Start the left engine.
Starting left.
Same process. Starting the left engine. Start switch
Once
up
again,
there.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board today.
Then
This is your
the
purser
fuel control
speaking.
switch to run.
Please direct your attention to the cabin crew for important safety information. There is an instruction card in your seat pocket.
There's a lot of
illustrating the safety
factors
equipment
to
on board this aircraft.
consider
Regulations
for
require compliance
you know
with this information,
diversion
as well as all
to
crew
an
instructions.
airport
The
after
lighted
like an
information
engine
sign
failure. You know,
and push the
as you
top out.
pointed out, ground
Fasten your
services,
seatbelt by
maintenance
inserting the metal tip into the buckle.
are quite
Tighten by pulling
important
on the
factor
belt.
to
To
consider.
release your seatbelt,
Of
lift
course,
the
the
metal
weather
strap
at the
on the
airport
buckle.
you're going to,
It is our policy that you keep your
the
seatbelt fastened at all times
navigation
while
equipment
seated.
there. Is an ILS
Doors are
approach?
clearly
Is it
marked
like a
with exit
VOR
signs and
approach? What
instructions
sort
for
of
door
approaches you
operation.
have? The
Each
runway
door is
length.
equipped with an escape slide. Locate the
There's a
nearest
lot of factors
exit
to
to you
consider.
and note that the nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, lights will illuminate the aisle. The cabin is pressurized. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, a panel will open and oxygen masks will appear. Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and pull a mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Oxygen will be flowing to the mask even though the bag may not inflate. Cover your nose and mouth with a mask. Place the elastic band around your head.
So we'll wait
and
for the
tighten by
push
pulling
to
on the ends.
finish,
Secure your own mask
and then it'll
before
start
assisting
disconnecting,
others.
and then we can
Your life
configure the
jacket is
aircraft
located under your seat.
for taxi and then
Tighten
take
the
off.
straps, and once
I hope
outside
he's
the
gonna
aircraft,
stop the
pull
push.
on the tabs to inflate your jacket.
Yep, shouldn't
Set
do that.
parking brakes.
If the jacket
Okay.
fails to inflate, use the tube placed nearest the neck. Your jacket is equipped with
Check
a
on
light
the
that
gas,
will
parking brake set.
automatically illuminate in water. This is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is not permitted in the cabin or in the lavatories. Cabin lights will now be turned
So I think
off.
here in FS2
Breathing
crew you
light
need to
buttons
tell
are located
the
over
flap
your
setting
head.
you want for
Thank you very
takeoff,
much for your attention.
and then that sets the motion to do the before the before taxi flow. But in rear we would do it differently. As soon as the two engines are started, you would do the flow and then
Unlocking gear.
do the rest. Hello, Ankit 007. Good morning or good afternoon to you, or maybe even evening. Who knows where you are in the world? So, okay. So he's disconnecting the bypass pin and all that stuff. Flaps 5. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Okay, I'll check the flight controls. So
Jump is clear.
here FS2 crew displays the flight control synoptics on the captain side. I mean, we don't personally like do it, but okay, the ground guy is gone. The engineer or the mechanic, yeah, he's walking. Oops, he's walking away. That's the tug. Okay, so normally he waves the bypass pin. And once he's waved goodbye, then we are officially dispatched. Although if there's a problem on taxi, we can still. He's disappeared. Yeah, if there's a problem on taxi, we can still come back even though we are officially dispatched. Actually the start sequence we can start with the number 1 engine as well. I don't know, I think it's just something that we do, but there's not really any logics to it, and I don't know if it's now also like kind of dating back from years ago, or so. No, there's you can do it like either way. There's no like a set way to do it. taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist, anti-ice, auto, recall, checked. Flight controls,
Checked.
ground equipment.
Clear.
Before taxi checklist, complete.
So as you can see here, I've got to tick the checklist items myself, because otherwise FS2 crew doesn't do it, and then when you call for the following checklist, it comes back to the first checklist you used. There's also an option to do the checklist without using the ECL, but I like to use the ECL, so that's why I do it that way. If you don't use the ECL with FS2 crew, then I think it just calls the checklist out loud as if he was reading a paper checklist, and you have to you know, give the replies. But yeah, I prefer to do it that way. But normally it's not the it's the guy who does the checklist who needs to tick the items if they are not to be ticked. Yeah. That's probably it. Worst Finger Gaming and Windsilk. Yeah. Right, the cabin is ready. Okay.
Cabin crew, take your seats.
Clear left.
Clear right.
Makes me think that I'm not connected properly there. Cool, now I'm connected. Okay, let's go. Right, so we're gonna taxi ahead here. Yeah, it's fairly hazy. Take Kilo here. No, there's no failures today because it's such a short flight that there shouldn't be anything happening now. Actually, I could have said the failures, but I want to do the complete flight. I don't have to. I don't want to have to think about, you know, diverting somewhere. Or, so yeah, no, I don't have any failures today. So the cabin was secure, so we can display the weather radar, for example, and
Heading 160 set.
no matey, I didn't ask you to change the heading. I didn't mute FS2 crew, and he's changed the the track. No. Before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist. Before takeoff checklist complete.
Checklist complete. Okay, right. We'll cross the active runway at Kilo 11, I think. Yeah. Let's have a look at the EFB. Yeah, Kilo 11 will be fine. There's an aircraft there. There's somebody else as well? No, only one guy. Okay. There's nobody on the approach. It's clear on the right, so we can cross the runway.
Approaching 30 left.
Okay, that's confirmed. And yeah, after that it's quite good because the procedures are fairly similar to more or less the Boeing procedures and what we do in real. So it's fairly easy to follow FS to crew after that. Runway entry procedure.
Check. Clear on the approach.
Indeed.
Approaching 30 right.
So he should have put the oh no, he's gonna do that when we say takeoff, but the landing lights should all come on and the
Landing
strobes
lights
as well.
coming on. Strobe lights off.
Yeah, now he's picked
On
up
runway
things
30
that he's not supposed to do.
right.
So let's see that. Put the strobes. Right, let's go. Takeoff.
Check. Thrust set.
Thrust ref.
Check. $80 knots.
Hold.
Check.
V1.
Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear up. LNAV.
400 feet. Check.
Thrust ref enough speed.
Check. Check.
Autopilot.
Check. Climb.
Cool. We're climbing away. We wait until about 3,000 feet, then the autopilot is gonna ask for acceleration and bug to 220 knots. So remind you that we need to be 220 knots at Demto, just basically to keep the turn under control a little bit. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
We can cheat a little bit, put like 222 to keep the up speed. Flaps up.
Flaps up.
After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist complete.
Very good. So even by like maintaining 220 knots, the turn is a little bit overshot, but it's not too bad, I guess. And now we can press altitude intervention. That will oops. If you press altitude intervention now, here I will delete the 220. See, the 220 is gone. And then if we close the speed window here, then we're gonna accelerate to 250 knots, which is good. And off we go. It's gonna be a quick flight. And now we can climb to flight level 200 to the cruise. Yeah, it's fairly cloudy. Amazing, huh? Although I guess it's winter time. And that's pretty much it until we get to transition altitude.
10,000 feet.
Now we're accelerating. 320 knots. He's retracted the landing lights, the runway turn off and taxi lights. Just the strobes stay on. And 10,000 feet we put the seatbelt sign to auto, which is also normally the job of the pilot monitoring. And then we continue, we're good. What songs I'm going to sing for you today? That's a good question. We'll see what FS2 crew has in store. Transition altitude, altimeters, standard. Transition altitude, standard set.
Standard set.
Off we go. Already almost at 14,000 feet. So it's a very quick flight. Good rate of climb, about 4,000, well, a little bit less now, 3.5, 4,000 feet per minute. There's a good headwind as well that helps the climb. The aircraft is fairly light as well. It's only 220 tons or something at this stage. Yeah, 225 tons. Right, and to avoid climbing like a rocket, we can go vertical speed and then reduce the vertical speed to, let's say, 1,000 feet per minute, so that the altitude capture is a little bit smoother. So we got 1,000 feet to go soon. Actually, the simulation here. Oh, thank you very much for the follow, Burak Dagviran. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. Welcome on board. The aircraft has a little bit more momentum in the real aircraft when you go vertical speed from like a high rate of climb. it takes a
And
while
then
to
we will
kind
also
of
be
lower
showing
the
short
nose
clips
and then
and some news items.
take
For the
the
people sitting in window
vertical
seats,
speed
we
you are
request that
asking
you
for.
close your window
But
shade.
here it's actually
This
quite good.
assists
It's
all
fairly fast
passengers to be able to view the movie much
to
better.
lower the
Also,
nose
as we
and
dim the lights for the
reduce the
movie
rate of
portion,
climb.
please
But
use
the
caution
real
when
aircraft
getting up
has a little
and
bit
using
more
the
momentum
restroom
to
or
it,
walking the aisles. And please,
so you need
if
to
you're
kind
sitting
of
in an
do it
aisle
a
seat,
little bit
keep all
before.
items clear of the aisles for other people and also for our flight attendants. Thank you.
Tommy Tomte, good day to you, sir. Thank you very much. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're enjoying the stream. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. Alt. Enough path.
Check.
And off we go. Oops. So because it's a short flight, I'll actually fly the whole arrival today. The arrival, I think, into Doha is a little bit of what we call like a trombone or a snake arrival. It kind of turns left, right, we could bypass the arrival, but today I'll just fly the whole arrival. As I said, it's a short flight, so should be good fun. So yeah, it took less than 10 minutes to reach cruise altitude. So, and top of descent is in 41 and 14 minutes. So no long time to. And today it's good because if you check the wind up here, we've got 61 knots. More or less on the nose, so the ground speed is only 381 knots, which probably kills, or adds, should I say, not kills, but adds another 2 or 3 minutes maybe to the flight time. But imagine if you have a tailwind, then the flight would be the cruise part of the flight would be very short. It's amazing that the computer reckons that the optimum level is almost 380. I mean, you could theoretically, I guess, you could go up to flight level 380, but as soon as you get there, you would have to go back down. So there's no point really climbing at full blast up to 380 to then start the descent straight away. So 200 will be a good compromise.